This is Stars and Scopes with your friend Uma, updated every new and full moon with guidance based on planetary transits in the current sky and extra support from tarot. For accuracy, take a look at your rising sign first if you know it, and do feel free to listen to your sun, moon and rising if you'd like the full picture. If you're interested in your birth chart, check out the readings page at umaruby.com, and if you'd like to support the work, head over to buymeacoffee.com/umaruby and you can buy me a coffee. Finally, if you're a visual learner, look up Uma Ruby Tarot on YouTube and you can watch and learn. Okay, let's take a look. Hello Cancer and Cancer Rising. Welcome to your horoscope for the full lunar eclipse in Taurus, happening on November the 8th at 2 minutes past 10 p.m. if you're in the Southern Hemisphere with me. Now, first of all, this eclipse is happening in your 11th house, which is where we find community and where we get a perception of humanity at large. It's a vast, expansive house that, has a lot to do with friendship and stuff like that as well. I want to maybe just do a little bit of a check about the last eclipse that we had, the one in Scorpio, the one in your 5th house of creativity and your inner child, that sense, the grief that we experienced at that time and released out into the world, and the changes perhaps that occurred there into your sense of community, into your sense of sort of humanitarian activation might be a good way to think about it. Remember, this is an eclipse, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to activate or take charge at the moment. And I'm sort of saying this because there is more pressure happening in Aquarius to this eclipse. So the moon is at 16 degrees of Taurus, and it's in an exact conjunction with Uranus in Taurus at 16 degrees. So there is that sort of drive or will to revolutionize on a humanitarian level for you, Cancer. This isn't new. This has been there for some time. This square with Saturn in Aquarius is pressure, it is boundaries, it's restriction again. So I feel that maybe at this lunar eclipse, there might be an emotional short-circuiting. There might be, that you might be feeling kind of maybe a sense of overwhelm, perhaps about the great job that seems needs to be done when we think about life in humanitarian terms on a global scale, on a bigger sort of outreach there. This restriction is coming from your 8th house, which is it's a tender, difficult, beautiful house, but it has a lot to do with how we're bound to other folks. The soul contracts, or whatever it is you might like to say, that keeps us connected, and the grief that can occur in that space, and also the kind of the emotional intensity. So there's restriction there. There's something you're held in some way to the energy of other people, and this could be inheritance, this could be rental contracts, this could be any number of things to do with collaboration. How the rules that bind in collaboration. There's a 6 of Swords there. We've brought this card up a lot for these readings over the past bit of time. I think the revolutionary in you, the one that wants to activate and to grow and to change, to have an active hand in changing how we live as human beings, is under some sort of binary, bound, some kind of bondage right now with this Saturn energy there. It's going to be moving forward, but Saturn's in its direct motion now, but it does take a long while to go around, so it's going to be there for a little while longer. So what we can do is kind of accept that, but also maybe cast our minds back to a couple of dates that I want to give you. So I want you to think about November 19th-ish of last year, and I want you to think about April 30th of this year, because these were the last 2 points, the last 2 dates that we had eclipses in Taurus. We had these ecliptic power outage moments in your sense of community and the human collective. So think back to those dates and think what started to activate, without your control, without your say-so, what things were moving. And we can maybe look at it as, more of the same. Things are going to continue to change. That's what life is. It's constantly changing and shifting at all times. But if there has been some worry or some stress or some anxiety around the human collective, around what it is that you're going to do and activate and how you're going to get there, I wonder if there might be a brainwave that comes to you, or there might be a bit of a moment for you at this eclipse. There might be a sort of maybe like a break from the kind of restrictive energy that you're in right now. The intuitive cards that I picked you are the Three of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Page of Cups. So I see you here kind of, staring off into middle distance, Cancer, sort of waiting to activate, waiting to set forward on a new adventure. Perhaps this binary, this restriction, this sort of something's held you somewhere for a time now. You've had to exist as a certain version of yourself with these restrictions, with this setup. And you're willing for that to change. You're wanting for that to change, for that to turn over in order to start something fresh, to start something new. The Ace of Wands is that offer from Spirit. It's a magical offer. So if this card, if this idea that it's on the way, it's coming, and you've been so patient and really lovely to wait so long and to go about your rituals day to day and to regulate the energy. But I wonder if just knowing that this offer, this magic wand from Spirit Land is on its way to you. It's on its way to you as you wait at this bank. Then maybe this can give you the courage and the peace to stick it out. The Page of Pentacles is beautiful, gentle, naive maybe, but hopeful emotion. The Page is a youthful energy, and maybe someone that's external to you. Sometimes when the court cards come up in a reading, they can represent someone outside of ourselves that is perhaps on their way, or that is in your environment, that is taking a moment to let themselves be known. I think that there's a coming back to hope for you, Cancer, that I can see here. And maybe this eclipse is sort of bringing it on in, Eclipses don't always have to be something treacherous. I think that because they're in Scorpio and Taurus, there is that emotional intensity. There is that sort of like the depth of Scorpio, can be intense. But I see these two cards as hope. I see these 3 cards as waiting for that hope to arrive, waiting for that moment. So I wonder if this wand, this offer, might be coming from this Page of Cups, this person who is kind of, I'll say probably naive might be a good way, but not in a derogatory sense, in a way of being sort of like unmarred by emotional struggle. Not to say that they haven't had their own things to go through, but there's something kind of, they've not been knocked down. Yeah. And maybe they've got the wand for you. They've got this sort of key. So think about your sense of community. Think about people in your environment, folks around you. And keep your eyes peeled, because there's someone in there. There's someone in that sense, in that group, that has the magic for you, has the offer, has that willingness to provide it for you. And this is not something that they're going to do for you. This is for you to do yourself. On the back of the deck, I've got the Ace of Swords, which is the truth from Spirit. A cold, sharp truth. It's a really honest card, a really noble card. There's a reality to this card. We think the swords, we think the mind, so it's definitely truth, undeniable. And that's the back of your deck here, Cancer. So that's the base note of this whole reading. Let's have a look at, so the sun's at 16 degrees in Scorpio. And that's the 6 of Cups. The moon and Uranus are at the 6 of Pentacles in Taurus. I brought these 2 cards up for everyone because that's the geography of the zodiac. But let's think about this in regard to your inner self, your expression. And that's the 6 of Cups right now. That's nostalgia. That's remembrance of good times past. And the moon is at the 6 of Pentacles, which is about giving and receiving support. So it's about when you need, being open to receive from other folks that have enough to offer you. And when you find yourself in a place of having enough, that you can provide for them and you can offer them some of what you have. It's a really nice exchange that's happening. And this is where this lunation's happening. This is where this revolution is happening too. So I can see that there's definitely, you want to give, you want to be able to reach into your pocket and to hand it over to folks that you can think of that might need it, or to groups of people that might need it, boards, not profits, social justice collectives that are doing their utmost to sort of keep a sense of humanity afloat during such tricky times. The limitation, the Saturn in the 8th is kind of like, maybe you don't have, it might be really good for you to rest in the idea that when you have enough, and that could be energy, that could be money, that could be resources, enough, when you have enough, that will be the time for you to give. But maybe at this moment, it might not be that time. It might be a time to hold back and to honor and respect and recognize the boundary of Saturn in your 8th house. There is definitely things that you're bound to at the moment. There's obligations that need to be fulfilled. There are things that are holding you in a certain space. But know that once that has been completed, once Saturn moves on from Aquarius perhaps, once that sort of energy of restriction has shifted in our atmosphere, that will be the time that you can activate and that you can give as much as you wish to. And that can be from your mind, your pocket, whatever, The eclipse will definitely be triggering some sense of emotion around that. Okay, so I just want you to be aware and mindful of that. And that the revolutionary ideas that you have in regard to our species, they're on the way. and they're coming and they're cooking away. So don't you worry about that. Yeah. Yeah, have a think about November the 19th, 2021. Have a think about April 30th, 2022. And these are all issues, around those times, about a year ago and about 6 months ago. Think, and this is where we can have input into the patterns that the planets are making, because we can reflect into our own lives and we can think, oh, okay, there's a majesty there, there's a pattern, there's a beautiful pattern that's forming. So in moments of maybe feeling a bit desolate or a bit like, if your cap's in your hand and you're sort of, struggling at the moment, it's not to be ashamed of. Cancer, it's okay. It's gonna turn, the wheel turns, and it's on the way. So just, hunker down at this eclipse. You don't have to do anything. You can look at it if you like. I mean, I used to like to look at eclipses, but I've been reading that perhaps it might be maybe too frenetic an energy to sort of take in. Like, we've got to respect that, I guess. The light that we get from the luminaries is doing its thing, and when there's an eclipse, it's an infiltration of that flow. So it might not be so good to look at them. I wonder if I will or not. I think back to the last times that I looked at eclipses, and boy, oh boy, did some quite large changes happen. So we'll see. That's your reading, Cancer. I love you very much. We'll be back in 2 weeks, okay? And we're going to be active and included and ready to go to manifest again. It'll be a new moon in Sagittarius, which is great to move ahead. And we can ask for what it is that we might like to aid us in this journey. But for right now, eclipse season, just give it a rest. Give it a rest. Head to umaruby.com and get your birth chart read by me. You can head to the readings page and pick your journey. I've been having a great time with them. Thank you very much for being here with me and supporting my work. It's been a really full-on 2 weeks. It's been quite wild and great, and I've been feeling very validated and very welcome here. So thank you very much. But I'll speak to you soon. Cancer, you take care. Bye.